Amazing. Okay, welcome everyone. And today's session is on leaving no one behind, migrant women leading change towards the 2030 agenda. And this is led by Euphomia Edward, who is the Development Education Coordinator in AkiDwA. And this session will reflect on the organisation's Together for a Better World project and its use of GCE to engage migrant and indigenous women in exploring global inequality, human rights, and their role as agents of change. Euphomia, you're very welcome, and I'll hand over to you now.
Thank you so much, Sal. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining this knowledge share session. I know very few of us are working. Everyone is on leave, enjoying the sunshine somewhere. Yeah. So as I've been introduced, my name is Euphomia Edward. I'm the Development Education Coordinator at AkiDwA. But unfortunately, this role actually ends today as I'm moving to another role. Yeah, so I'm pleased to share with you our experience of delivering the Together for Better World project over the past 3 years, whereby I was privileged to work on this amazing project for the past 2 years. And as the title shows, we'll be discussing about what does it mean to leave no one behind and reflecting from experiences from this project. And also it's worth mentioning that in 2026, AkiDwA marks 25 years of promoting equality, justice, and leadership of migrant women across Ireland. So this position is both like a reflection of our work and a longer story of migrant women participation and leadership. So maybe before I proceed, I would like to begin with a question for all of us. Is it enough to bring marginalized community into the room? Or must global citizenship education also change like who shapes the learning, whose knowledge counts, and who leads the action? So for AkiDwA, leaving no one behind cannot mean only like counting how many marginalized people attended our session. And of course, the reach matters. Like we really need the targets most of the time, as project management suggests. But meaningful inclusion, I think, should go further. So it's all about creating like the conditions in which people can participate safely, but also connecting their experience to wider systems of inequality, and also to be able to question power, and also identifying their own individual and collective roles in creating the change that we want to see. So on the other hand, it also requires organization to be able to listen, but also to share power, as well as to recognize that the communities, and particularly the marginalized communities, they already carry like knowledge and solutions towards the better world that we want to see. So the main message I would like to share today is that meaningful inclusion requires shift from reaching women to learning with women, and also to support the women-led actions. Before discussing about the project, I would like also to highlight a bit about our work at AkiDwA, especially for those who are meeting us for the first time. So AkiDwA is the National Network of Migrant Women in Ireland, and it was established in 2001. And our vision is for just an equal society where migrant women have equal opportunities and access to resources, be it like politically, economically, socially. And also our mission is to promote equality and justice and address different barriers that prevent migrant women full participation. And how do we do this? We have different projects, like our work is kind of broad, but interconnected. So we have different projects that help us in achieving this vision. We work, for instance, on employment and economic inclusion, whereby we support migrant women to develop their skills, access opportunities, and overcome barriers to meaningful employment. But also we have work around domestic sexual and gender-based violence, whereby primarily we provide support while also raising awareness and also referring women to appropriate services, but also through our cultural competency training, which we provide to individuals and organizations. We made sure that everyone understands migrant women experience, and they can improve accessibility and responsiveness of the services. But also our work is evidence-based, so we do a lot of research and advocacy work where we document migrant women's lived experiences, we highlight gaps in policies and service, and also to be able to bring migrant women voices into national discussion and decision making. And actually, one of the recent work we have done is Unheard Voices, which I also had a privilege of presenting in this same platform last year. And I'm really grateful for the kind of collaboration also we have received in terms of raising awareness on challenges people living in emergency accommodation services go through. So, and also we work on development education and specifically through this project that we are discussing today. So generally, Together for a Better World sits within this bigger picture, and we use now development education to connect migrant women's lived experience with human rights and global inequality, while supporting women to recognize their knowledge, agency, and leadership in terms of creating change. And Together for a Better World project started officially in 2020. So we were privileged to be funded by Irish Aid for 1 year project in 2020 and 2021. And then 2023 to 2026, we got a 3-year funding. So this really has helped us now to be able to deepen our work, and this shows the importance of consistency and what the 3-year deep focused work can do. And through this project, we support migrant women to explore global inequalities, to understand their rights, and become agents of change. So if I am to be honest, like when the project started, it was more about active citizenship. It was more like supporting women to take part and all that. But as we proceed, like from this original ambition, which had 3 kind of interconnected parts, whereby we wanted first participants to be able to explore global development issues. And we use the framework of Sustainable Goal number 5 on gender equality and Sustainable Goal number 10 on reduced inequality, because these are the 2 goals that speaks to the realities of migrant women experience here in Ireland. So we wanted them to be able to explore this and also to be able to understand the relationship between local experience and the global realities. And secondly, we also wanted women to be able to question values, assumptions, inequality, and structures that shape people's opportunities. But also we didn't want them to end only about having knowledge. Like we want to always address like, okay, we are now aware, and then so what? So thirdly is all about action oriented. So we wanted participants to be able to gain like the confidence and skills to become active global citizens and contribute to change in their community. So our one principle that captured this ambition was clearly like nothing for me without me. So where does the GCE comes in? I can say like GCE was not simply like one topic added to the general empowerment program, but it was approached through which the entire learning process was designed. So first, it was critical because participants had an opportunity to examine the root causes of inequality and not only its visible effect. Like, for instance, many migrant women believe that migration is a personal story. Most of the women will walk into our session knowing that, okay, I just chose to migrate because of like individual circumstance. They wouldn't know on how global inequality push, how global inequality results into migration. But also our session was also participatory because learning happened through different approach. We'll see later, but different approach, like we had dialogue sessions, reflection, storytelling, and shared experiences, and mostly in a very informal setups. But also local to global, as I explained earlier, women explored how experiences such as discrimination, insecure housing, barriers to healthcare are linked to the wider systems and global patterns of inequality, but also multiple perspective because we work with women from different countries, different background, different cultural background, of which their life experiences really help in terms of learning from one another. But also it's finally, it's action oriented. So the purpose was not to understand injustice, but also to identify the practical actions of responding to do. Like our final session would start with a question on what can I do about it? That was the most important thing. The learning journey. So with the activities that we did involve, the main activity was through 4 interconnected sessions. So migrant women who participated in the program were required to attend 4 formal sessions. And these sessions connect with one another in a way that the first session is all about understanding the group. And this could be in groups of 20 women per session. And so the first session will be about understanding like the group, but also being able to build like cohesion within the group, but also understand what GCE means, Sustainable Development Goals, and how the world is interconnected. So at the end of first session, women will walk away understanding how my personal experience is connected to the world. And then session 2, because we use SDGs as a framework, so we'll go further into SDG number 5 on gender equality and SDG number 10 with the targets, and see how do we see the targets reflecting on our daily lives, but also intersectionality, which really help the women to recognize patterns of inequality and understand how gender can interact with race, migration status, class, and other identities. But also the third session is more focused more on equality and human rights, whereby participants now will be able to reflect and understand like why does inequality exist, who has power to make decision, and who has responsibility to create change. And the final session focused on action planning. So participants are provided with practical tools to be able to identify their issue. We have like a template where we provide participants with an opportunity to think on issue within their community, within their accommodation center, and also to consider possible solutions that could contribute to social change. And across the 4 sessions, we use different ways like storytelling, case studies, debates, group discussions, and creative reflection. One of the also barriers that we experienced about the project was the fact that when we go to women to introduce ourselves for the first time, most of them would really be interested to first see how we can respond to their immediate needs. And that's a dream of every migrant. You cannot tell me about sustainable development goals while my immediate problem is I don't have a medical card, I don't have a GP, I don't have a house, I am homeless. How can you tell me to think about the sustainable development goals? So for us, we made like lived experience as a source of knowledge. So treating that like making sure that we create that space for discussion, whereby we'll start with this discussion. So instead of particularly saying only that a migrant woman is struggling to access suitable employment, we ask like what system created these barriers, or in terms of accessing employment, whose qualifications are recognized, how do gender, migration status, and care affect this opportunity? So this really become now our starting point in terms of analyzing like structures, rights, powers, and global responsibility to respond to these challenges. But it also enabled participants to understand that the personal difficulties are also connected to wider and often unequal systems. So what has been our success? So I would say this program in terms of numbers was highly successful because over the 3 years, around 236 participants attended our 4 formal training sessions. And it was primarily designed for women, but we ended up having around 5 men also among the 236 participants. But also we delivered approximately 44 sessions in different counties that we were able to reach, including County Louth, Sligo. Most of the sessions were also delivered here in Galway, County Mayo, Limerick, Clare, and also Roscommon. Also, we had returning participants. Like whenever we had like other sessions, other engagements, other online sessions, we had about 79 participants who have continued engaging with AkiDwA as part of this project. But also we have a general number who we contacted about GCE. This includes the women groups and organizations we have hosted meeting with. It also includes general, like when we have activities in AkiDwA, like maybe a job fair would hold a stand and talk about GCE using different resources, including resources from partners as well, resources from IDEA, Worldwide Global Schools, and every material we have collected from other GCE stakeholders as well will display them. So around that, we have assumed that, we have reached to more than 2,000 people. So I would say in simple terms is that these numbers really show demand, particularly for groups that are not as much engaged. So what changed to participants? These are some of the quotes that we captured from the training sessions, but also from the independent evaluation, which was conducted at the end of the project, whereby one of the participants reflect that they used to see SDGs as something very distant, and now they have learned that everyone has a role or has a contribution towards achieving SDGs. But for some women, the session were simply a place to come and be themselves and meet new women and just be happy. But for other women also, they realize how a small change can really plant a seed or can impact another person's life. But also, another woman also is appreciating the space where we can come together as and have meaningful discussion. Like I had one woman also who told me like she really had a dream of starting her own work in terms of supporting women, but she didn't have a starting point. But now she feels like she can start something and support women within her own local community. But also the last quote is from one of our women partner organization, whereby I quoted it from their LinkedIn page, whereby they say that GC remains at the head of what they do. And they learned that education is also not about acquiring knowledge, but also raising the consciousness and also being able to empower people. Like they wrote a very long caption after attending our action day. So I also these are valuable kind of evidence, but I also don't assume that every participant experience the same level of change. So from all I've presented, we can see how the project really shows progression. Towards active citizenship at both personal, community, and public level. Whereby at personal level, we can see how women have increased awareness, confidence, but also at community level, we can see how participants have developed different actions planned relating to women's health. Others are keen into mentoring other women, but also other women are also very keen into providing education, also running environmental sustainability awareness campaigns in their own community. Like we have women, for instance, in Galway and Crackwell, who now form a group and volunteer regularly in cleaning a school near at their local community. But also at public and collective level, we have seen women who have participated in the program engaging in advocacy, in public speaking, in volunteering and leadership, but also some participants also continue to engage actively through other AkiDwA programs and network as community experts, as mentors to other women, particularly the new arrival and all that. So from this, we can say like the progression is not always very linear, but also continue like mentoring and follow-up are important because this can contribute to this early action to become more sustainable and collective change. And one of the case study is the action day, which we did at the end of the project, but also in other years, like we had one last year. And so the action day is one of the project activities. And for the 2026 one, I can personally speak I can speak of it as a particularly important moment of this journey. And because it brought together like former participants, migrant women leaders, community organization, and other stakeholders, and we had around 72 people. Most of this day was shaped with women who have previously participated in the program. As you can see on the pictures, like we had a panel which was consisted of women who have taken part in this project, but also the woman who hosted, like the co-host of the event was also a former participant, alongside also other presenters during the day were women who had participated in the program. But at the end, we also had action labs. So this enables also other stakeholders who have not directly participated in the program to be able to shape the future of this program. So I can see time is moving, so I'll try to move quickly. So maybe for an organization that wants to learn in terms of how can we, like what made this kind of participation possible? So according to the evaluation that was conducted for this project, we identified key factors that inspired women to participate in this program. And the first one was trust, because AkiDwA is a national organization and we might not be directly rooted in some of the community. So partnership with local migrant women groups, including the informal groups and community organizations, really helped us in terms of reaching women through the relationship they had already created and have trust on. But also the second was time. The 4 connected sessions allowed learning to deepen and relationship among the women and between the women and the facilitators to grow. But also it was in terms of safety. Most of our sessions were held in informal spaces, was welcoming and was also culturally responsive, but also skilled and flexible facilitation. We use, as I said earlier, we use different approaches like storytelling, discussions, and etc. But also accessibility in terms of location, timing. At some point, we had to opt into hybrid, but also to opt into refresher sessions to be able to motivate more women to participate. But also, this was not without barriers. As much as participation was active and all that, we had different barriers, including childcare. Some women would really like to attend, but they did not have someone to leave their children with. And some had to bring their children to the session, and we couldn't have enough resources to cover for a professional childcare. So they had to attend the sessions with children, and we all know how sometimes it can be difficult. But also language was a barrier, and translation needs like additional time as well as resources to pay, but also transport and rural isolation also was a barrier. But also majority of the participants in the program were facing very immediate challenges that they wanted to get like solutions. So when they can't see a quick solution to challenges that they are already facing, that could really be a demotivating factor. But also we have witnessed in the past few years, there have been a wider anti-migrant sentiment, and this would make women uncomfortable or thinking like, if I contribute, how will this affect? Let's take an example of women who are within the international protection pathway. if I contribute, maybe this might jeopardize with my application. So they will opt to remain silent, or they wouldn't like to be quoted or something like that. But also the funding was small, so that we would love to reach more groups based on the demand, but also to be able to overcome the barriers. Yeah, so I will quickly go into lessons that we have learned. First of all, you can begin with lived experience, but not end there. It's important to continue supporting participants in terms of connecting experience to structures, powers, interconnectedness, and responsibility. But also it's important that we design our project with the communities and not simply for them. So participation should influence programs, content, learning methods, evaluation, and public activities. And for us, having 4 sessions really helped us, because sometimes you go to the first session and you realize, oh, this is what worked best to this group. So you have to make some changes to the second session. So it's not always like a one-go straight approach, but also treat trust and accessibility as part of the GC quality. Because if women have access barriers, then we cannot reach those who are really left behind. So it's very important to be able to see how we can collectively address these exclusion factors, so that to enable more women to enter the learning space. But also it's important that we create clear pathways from learning to leadership. So this include like a follow-up, not one-off sessions, co-facilitations, also engaging women who have already participated in the program, and also to have like practical support for the community action plan. The women really came up with very strong plans, but some of them required further resources like money and all that, but we wouldn't be able to support that. But also it's important we really measure more than attendance, which I know most of the organizations are already doing that. So we need to have tools to examine changes in critical thinking, confidence, urgency, participation, and collective action. And maybe I would love also to hear, because for us working with informal spaces, it's really difficult to measure this at times. So maybe as part of the reflection, I would like to hear from other stakeholders on how they are doing it. So this is a quick gallery walk on some of the trainings that we have had. Like on the down left, we had a group in Mayo. This is me holding the SDG 10. I was on national SDG consultation meeting, but also we provide also certificate at the end of the training. So this is on the left, on the right, this is us with our partner Remoja, which really attracted a huge crowd of around 30 women. Yeah. And also based on this work, we were also invited to give a keynote speech in Waterford 7th Global Women Conference, but also this is one of the group after their cleaning activities in a local school. And also on the left, this is also a very vibrant group in Dundalk. So I would like to finish by returning to the question which I began with, in terms of what does leaving no one behind truly demand of GCE. So our experience suggests that there is a journey from bridge to participation to critical consciousness, but to urgency and ultimately to collective action. So, however, like this journey does not happen automatically. It's required to be able to create like accessible spaces, to value lived experience and support critical analysis, to also share visibility and also invest in leadership beyond the training room. So I would like to end up there, and maybe I would like to leave us with one question in terms of where the participants hold power in our GCE programs. So thank you very much. I'll hand over to